Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the second panel discussion of the day on how MSMEs can solve their working capital crisis. The challenge of managing and getting time across to working capital has remained a perennial solution for MSMEs in Rajasthan and across the country. While the government at various levels have taken serious steps to address the problem, a large number of MSMEs continue to face the challenge. Our next panel will try to relook at the entire issue from scratch to understand the current solutions MSMEs can leverage. In alphabetical order, may I invite Mr. Ashok Kumar Pandey, General Manager, Small Industries Development Bank of India; Birajit Mohanty, Professor, Manipal University; Ravi Modani, Founder and CEO, One-to-One Finance; Ravi Sharma, Chief Financial Officer, Finova Capital; and the panel moderator, Mr. Sandeep Soni, Senior Assistant Editor, Financial Express Digital. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed guests up on the stage.
Thank you, Vibhav, for the quick introduction. Because we are already short of time, we'll keep the discussion short, succinct, and to the point. वर्किंग कैपिटल जैसा कि हमने वैभव ने बताया कि ऑलरेडी एक इशू है, हैज़ बीन अ पेरेनियल इशू फॉर एसएमईज. तो ये टॉपिक रखने का मेन पर्पस यही था कि हाउ वी कैन री-लुक एट दिस इशू ऑल टुगेदर फ्रॉम स्क्रैच and probably listen from our experts, banks, financial institutions, and also from an academic perspective कि आज की SMEs 2023 की SMEs कैसे इसको देखती हैं और how they can actually address this particular problem. So I'll begin with Mr. Modani. Mr. Modani, being in Jaipur, you know the ecosystem राजस्थान के MSMEs को आप बहुत अच्छे से समझते हैं. किस तरह का वर्किंग कैपिटल इशू पहले तो हाउ डू दे डू एमएसएमईज अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द वर्किंग कैपिटल इज़ फॉर देम, आज की डेट में क्या उसकी परिभाषा है और क्या करंट चैलेंजेस हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ वर्किंग कैपिटल सर?
Hello, yeah. Thank you for having me here. So, see, Rajasthan is a state जहाँ पे working capital intensive units हैं. So, for example, जितने MSMEs हैं, right? So, I guess we are among the fourth largest MSME registered, fourth of the largest in the country, right? So MSMEs are always a working capital intensive industry, जहाँ पे मैन पावर की रेशियो ज़्यादा होती है. MSME के अंदर बहुत फिक्स असेट्स की इन्वेस्टमेंट कम होती है, वर्किंग कैपिटल की ज़्यादा होती है. एंड वर्किंग कैपिटल में भी सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है कि साइकिल कितनी बड़ी है. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल समबडी सप्लाइंग टू अ लार्जर कॉर्पोरेट, उसकी ऑपरेटिंग साइकिल विल गो अप, right? At the same time, somebody is doing let's say manpower staffing services, for example, कि उसकी operating cycle काफ़ी कम होती है. Now, similarly, if we add Jaipur का राजस्थान का जो particular flair है, which is exports. So, a lot of the time, most of the exporters, garment, handicraft, jewelry, तो इनकी cycle all लंबी होती है because you procure the material, processes, and then you send it across. भले वो LC पे हो तो भी हो. So, working capital is an ongoing concern for MSME. And each MSME has to identify its own need कि कहाँ उसकी cycle क्या है. I think the important point here is to identify the operating cycle of a working capital.
Mr. Ravi, Mr. Modani talked about the cycle. At Finova Capital, what kind of delays in working capital you see, particularly from the payments perspective? वो कितना बड़ा challenge है and how Finova Capital helps in?
Sandeep, Finova Capital basically focus on the unorganized kind of MSMEs, because MSME is a larger definition. There are a lot of MSMEs who used to manage through their documentations and all, but at Finova our focus is on that 84% of the total population who depend on the local money lenders, who do not manage their business through any documentation, small tea vendors, tailoring shops, shopkeepers, vegetable vendors. So these kind of businesses which are in essential kind of commodity segment. So we focus on that segment. Here the biggest challenge is assessment, because and because of that reason, the formal banking channel do not focus on these segments because lack of documentation is the biggest problem. So at Finova we have developed unique things with the help of technology adaptation. It nowadays become relatively easier, I can say, because usage of UPI has been increased. The penetration of Sibyl, CRIF kind of CIC has been increased. So with the use of these technical tools and with our unique templatization model of these businesses, we have developed those systems through which we do a fair analysis of these unorganized sector so that their working capital requirement could be met in timely manner, and we also take care their ALM part. ALM is a technical term which we use in banking. So to make this word understandable, we give loan for longer period. So first challenge was that lack of documentation. Second is the tenor, because if you give a loan for lesser tenor, their repayment obligation increases. So बिजनेस में अप डाउन्स भी आते हैं. सो अगर कोई डाउन साइड आएगा तो देयर एबिलिटी टू बाउंस बैक decreases. So we ensure that sufficient time should be given to MSMEs, and we benefited during COVID time period when the businesses were stuck up for some time. But with the longer period loan, their EMI burden got lowered, and they have bounced back in very good fashion. So I think this is hard working model, and NBFCs like Finova are really contributing a lot on these kind of MSME sector, which is largest among entire bucket.
Mr. Pandey, I'll come to you, sir. One-to-one finance companies like One-to-One Finance, Finova Capital, they're playing a critical role in enabling the credit access for Rajasthan's as well as across India's MSME ecosystem. But SIDBI, on the other hand, is the principal financial institution for MSMEs in the country, sir. आप अगर थोड़ी लाइट डाल पाएँ in terms of direct and indirect finance that SIDBI does and the other schemes which are available for MSMEs in Rajasthan, sir.
Sandeep, the challenge before any MSME is to get the credit timely and adequate credit. Also, coming to the working capital, the challenges before them, particularly, see, if you look at the total credit to MSME, that roughly comes to about 20 lakh crore. Okay. 20-25 lakh. So, but the credit from the formal sector to MSME is hardly 45%. Okay. The most of the credit they get from their informal sector, the trade credit, what they enjoy. So we, the Ministry of MSME has also given a mandate to SIDBI that we are trying to formalize the micro enterprises which are today not falling in the priority sector portfolio of the bank, and they are put to the formal channel on Uddami Assist portal. That is the Uddam Assist portal. Okay. Roughly 2 crore micro enterprises they are to be onboarded on that. To solve the problem of the working capital, see, the government of India had enacted one legislation way back in 1993, the Interest on Delayed Payment Act, okay, which has not been subsumed in the MSMED Act. The Addition of the receivables, that is a major challenge today. The MSME Facilitation Council, which has been set up in every state, it has not been able to solve the problem. The reason is that, see, if any MSME is supplying to a particular buyer and where their supply to one particular buyer is more than 40% or 50% of the total their turnover, they don't want to get out of the bonding or the leverage what they enjoy with that particular buyer. So they never come to the MSME facilitation. See, if it is one of the buyer, then definitely they come to. And MSME facilitation happens to an arbitration proceedings only. I had been part to the various facilitation council in other states. So, but nevertheless, looking to the challenges before the MSME, the trade receivable discounting scheme that has been launched, TRADES platform has been launched. And SIDBI was the pioneer to launch RXL platform in association with National Stock Exchange, NSE. Today, as SIDBI, as one of the participants on the platform, though, but we have been able to showcase that yes, it's a doable thing. And today, our dollar portfolio under trades, that is 1,000 crore. It has crossed 1,000 crore. The only challenge is that, see, what Government of India has mandated, that any corporate entity having a turnover more than 500 crore, they need to be onboarded on the platform. And all the public sector enterprises, they have already been instructed to get onboarded on the platform. The beauty of that is that, see, even the GEM portal that has been interlinked with that platform. So any procurement by the government through GEM portal will already get priority to get discounted on that platform. The challenge in trades platform is that it's the buyers. See, any corporate buyer, he only enlists the sellers to be get onboarded on the platform. It's a very, for particular MSME, the price discovery does takes place on that platform. And on the strength of the buyer, MSME get the credit at the lowest rate. The second problem we have, we are coming out with another solution, that is GST Sahay. That will be able to take care of the micro enterprises, though they are GST registered, but they have not been able to enjoy working capital facility for whatever the reasons from the formal banking sector. And that would be entirely collateral free. The entire receivables, their invoices will get discounted on the platform. See, when in the other panel, Mr. K.L. Jain, what he was telling it is that is the maximum permissible bank finance, MPBF. The RBI has already done away with that MPBF calculation. Now it has been entirely left to the individual banks to decide. Still the banks, they go by that, whether it's a NAYAC committee method or whether it's second method of lending. Okay. See, particularly what happens, see, as he was rightly said, see, any data, see, ultimately whatever, see, the banker tries to see, that at least the working capital turnover ratio, that should be ideally 4 with a 90 days operating cycle. But does it really happen? So what happens? See, there the more than, see, there is a relaxation from 90 days, it can be extended up to 180 days also, it can go up to 6 months. But what happens there, see, ultimately, see, once that operating cycle stretches to 1 year, their working capital turnover gets reduced to 2. May not be exactly 2 also. It could be less than that. So most of the time, their working capital that is stuck with the payments that they are going to receive from the buyers. When you look at the large corporates, their current ratio is less than 1. What is the reason? They enjoy the working capital at the cost of the MSMEs. See, and we have been able to tell, we had a receivable finance scheme. Okay, rather we were the pioneer. When SIDBI was set up, that SIDBI fund which was there with IDBI, that was transferred to SIDBI, and we started with that was a direct discounting scheme for components, which ultimately got converted into the MSME receivable finance scheme. We continued with that. Then we developed an entries platform in association with NSE, and which has now been become a trades platform. The banks see the credit. See, we have been able to advocate to the banks also to try to see and give the when you look at the NAC committee method, what does it say? It says minimum 20% of the turnover. The banker is free to give more than 20%. If the turnover has not increased, but the working capital side has got elongated, still the bankers can do. And up to, see, earlier when it was envisaged, the NAC committee says up to 5 crore of the working capital that can be given under NAC committee method. But still the banks, they were a bit hesitant to provide that. But to solve the working capital issues, we have been able to provide the guarantee cover and through CGTMSE also. And CGTMSE has got to see, it is treated as a sovereign guarantee. It is the 80% that corpus is from the Ministry of MSME and 20% corpus that is from SIDBI.
Which was increased last
Yeah,
year.
it has been increased. It has been increased to roughly 9,000 crore. And SIDBI has also contributed this financial year 500 crore, another 20% contribution, whatever there. So we have been contributing. See, and the CGTMSE last year could cross 1 lakh crore of the guarantee cover. They have been able to provide 1 lakh crore of guarantee cover. And cumulatively, it has crossed more than 5 lakh crore of the guarantee to the MS. And it is not to the medium, it is the micro and small enterprises, which are always at the receiving end. See, it is treated as a sovereign guarantee, and whatever the 75% of the guarantee that is provided, the banks, they need not provide any capital charge on that. It eases the problem of the banker also. It started with all scheduled commercial banks, and SBI was the late entrant. But SBI joined, that definitely it took a quite jump on that. We have been able to onboard the NBFCs also on that platform. Even retail credit, that is retail trade, which has been now been recognized. See, though it was recognized as one of the eligible activity, but it was not made eligible activity under the credit guarantee. Now it has been made eligible under the credit guarantee. But there is a cap, up to 50% only the guarantee cover that would be provided. All the three newly fintech companies, they have come out with quite innovative tools. See what happens, the challenge before any MSME is that, or the bank, before the bank also, the information asymmetry is there. Okay. To ease out that issues, we have been able to come out with a digital solution. Digital lending. We were the pioneer to come out with digital lending. The PSB loan in 59 minutes. That is less than one hour.
And that's actually a very interesting.
That's what PSB, see, and we were the first. We roped in that fintech company. We were the first strategic investor. We tested that in SIDBI. All the pilot testing were done, and thereafter it was rolled out. And thereafter, all other public sector banks, they joined,
Absolutely.
or they got onboarded on that platform. So, and it provides, see, within 1 hour, it provides in principle sanction up to, see, and the beauty of that platform is that, see, it can be a bank specific also, bank specific and bank specific products also.
Right.
That's the beauty of that. Up to 5 lakh, see, many of them up to 5 crore of the working capital that can be provided on that platform.
You know, Mr. Pandey, I would wanted to understand the digital aspect also, and that's where I'll come to Mr. Mohanty, since you understand this subject very keenly. Mr. Pandey talked about the digital lending aspect, and thanks to this entire India stack story, UPI, Aadhaar, and all that, which to a very significant level has enhanced the digital credit penetration among MSMEs, particularly in Rajasthan and other areas. Now the new aspects, around account aggregator or OCAN, how do these things fit into this entire scheme of working capital for MSME, sir? And how MSMEs can understand these things at a very layman level? If you can throw some light on it, sir.
Thank you, Sandeep, for having me here. So, this is a very interesting question. So, my earlier speaker already added about trades, so I will not comment upon that one. So, I will just comment upon this open credit enablement network. So, here there are 4 participants, unlike trades, but there are only 3 participants. Here, one is the MSME as one of the participants, and there is credit service provider, the second participant. Third one is the bank product, credit product providers, and fourth one is the account aggregator. See, on account aggregator, they play actually important role where this MSME can upload their GST file and all the returns and the basic information about the companies and the address and all those details, Aadhaar link, everything they can upload. And these credit providers, like they take example of ATM. So where 60 to 70% of the business now it is on EPI mode, and these are companies. They have the information of all the SMEs, because where from you can get the detail about the transaction of that particular company. So that will give a what you call the history of the transactions and the quantum of the transactions of that particular SME, and that will help the bank, the financial companies to assess the creditworthiness of the MSMEs. So these account aggregators can provide the information to the banks, and this service credits providing companies can also give the information to the bank, so that the bank can able to assess the what kind of credit the bank is being exposed when they are financing to the SMEs. So that is a better way of understanding and the creditworthiness of the SMEs, and this is also a better way of extending credit from the foreign financial institution to the banks. See, these where the banks also can come here in the market, and the bidding process will start, and the bidding process, through the bidding process the price determination will come, and the MSME will have the option to choose which bank they will have to select for taking the credit from banks. So now the SMEs will also, both banks and the SMEs, both the financial institution and SMEs are the winning positions. Both can be benefited from this platform.
Interesting.
Can I add on to OCAN, right? So we have been a pioneer in OCAN since 2021, among the largest players in the country. And we have a new version of OCAN 4.0, जो अभी launch हुआ है, exactly. So the best part is, India में collateral security से we have moved to a information collateral now, right? So yeah, beyond cash flow also, because cash flow तो क्या आप खुद का cash flow setting करते हो, right? OCAN में क्या है, basically the first product on OCAN is GEMSA है, wherein all the suppliers to the government of India on the GEM platform are financed real time by us. So like one-to-one finance sitting out of Jaipur, हमने 28 में से 24 states of the country and 4 union territories. So basically Jaipur से मिजोरम, अंडमान कहीं पे भी हो, हम lending कर पाए. Because of that, all the components, digital lending, UPI, trade, all these are components of the new public infrastructure. Similarly, we have been live on trade since 2022 on the platform as a lender. Now what happens, जो पांडे साहब ने बोला कि कई बार corporates आ तो गए वहाँ पे, but those corporates will not even accept the invoices. I'll give you a classic example. One of the largest corporates in the country, largest, they never buy anything or they never pay anything on trades. ठीक है, तो उसके लिए वो MSME कहाँ जाए? And that is what we have done as one-to-one finance, being a factoring company outside trades. The entire experience which is there on trades, except for one thing, because trades में it's a bidding process, there are multiple lenders, and which is working primarily on the PSL entitlement of the seller being an MSME. But यहाँ पे because corporates, even though they don't accept, but we do a faster thing. Important in working capital is the timing. If you don't get the working capital in the right time, it is useless. So whether it's OCAN, it's trades, all these technologies have made the thing very, very fast, right? And so basically OCAN में क्या, there's a word called derived data. And there's a borrower agent, right? So today in the first use case, GEM के अंदर क्या है? GEM is the borrower agent, and the underwriting is done not on my cash flow as an MSME, right? But it's been done on the data which is, I'm giving the data on the GEM platform. I'll give you another example. ओला उबर को फाइनेंसिंग चालू हुई थी ड्राइवर्स को बहुत पहले, राइट? तो वो उनकी जो मंथली बिलिंग या वीकली बिलिंग हुई उसके ऊपर हुई थी कि वो कितना काम करते हैं, कितनी वो गाड़ी चलाते हैं. सिमिलरली, सो आई थिंक द वर्ल्ड इज मूविंग टू information is the new collateral and technology and digital make it a very big difference.
In the interest of time, one last question from all of you. We talked about how MSMEs can access working capital in today's time. How they can optimize their existing working capital. One quick liner from all of you, sir. What tips, tricks to optimize their existing working capital, manage their existing working capital for even the smallest of the smallest micro enterprise in the country, sir.
The efficiency in the working capital management, that has to be, most of the micro enterprises, if you look at, the medium enterprises, they have been in the larger segment of the medium, they have been able to adopt the technology also. The challenge is the micro enterprises, which constitute more than 95% of the entire MSME ecosystem. There it could be, either it could be a cluster approach that could be there. It can be adopted in the cluster, and that has to be, obviously, we need to look at the homogeneous cluster, because it may not be practically possible to get implemented in a heterogeneous cluster. And we have been able to do it, and particularly, at least I recall, in the state of Uttarakhand, we have been able to do with the intervention of the World Bank in the pharma cluster. We have been able to do it. See, even we have adopted quota cluster also. So that there, it has to be on the cluster. See, micro, if you go to any small micro enterprise and ask them to adopt the latest technology, it's simply not possible. So there, it could be there could also be some sort of an aggregation there. Within that, they can share it. And today, the beauty of the fintech company today is that, because of the information asymmetry or whatever the reasons, they are also relying on the alternate data. Whether it's a utility payment, within the micro enterprises also, because lot many enterprises, they not be accessing the capital or getting the support from the formal banking sector. So it's the utility bills or their whatever they are posting on the social platform. So all that, it provides a lot of input. So particularly the fintechs, they are driving on that platform also, alternate data.
Mr. Modani.
Yes, since the time is short, I would not take a long time. Basically, the question is how to optimize the working capital, right? Simple and straight. There are one thing if the MSME can define who is your customer. आपका पैसा कहाँ से आने वाला है? हम हर चीज़ सॉल्व कर ट्रेड से लेकर क्यूआर कोड की लैंडिंग जो हो रही है वो एक ही बात पे हो रही कलेक्शन कहाँ से आ रहा है. सो सिंपल एंड स्ट्रेट एक अगर वो बंदा डिसाइड कर ले, इवन आप लोग भी करते हो तो वही देखते हो कि कलेक्शन कहाँ से आ रहा है. तो नंबर वन कलेक्शन कहाँ से आ रहा है. ए बी सिंपलेस्ट कलेक्शन कितने दिन में आ रहा है. राइट, आई एम टॉकिंग वेरी सिंपल टर्म्स. राइट, दो चीज़ डिसाइड कर ले कि वो 9 महीने में आता है कलेक्शन, 9 दिन में आता है या 30 दिन में आता है. तो डिपेंडिंग ऑन दैट प्रोडक्ट यू गो एंड टेक अ वर्किंग कैपिटल अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट. That's number two. Last thing. Secondly, from a ad hoc based working capital, I think MSME should look from a transaction based working capital. मतलब मुझे कितने दिन के मतलब मुझे इस ट्रांजेक्शन के लिए कितनी वर्किंग कैपिटल चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं मुझे पूरे साल के लिए 1 करोड़ रुपये चाहिए. हो सकता है मुझे इसके लिए 10 लाख रुपए चाहिए. तो ट्रेड्स एंड ऑल दीज प्लेटफॉर्म्स आर नाउ अवेलेबल. आप उतनी वर्किंग कैपिटल उतने दिन के लिए तो बड़ी प्रॉब्लम को छोटा कर लेंगे तो काम ईजी हो जाएगा. थैंक यू.
So I will also keep this short. Smaller the working capital cycle, more the turnover, and MSME should consider working capital finance as a growth capital rather replacing their trade payables or others. So I think with these two things they can flourish their business, in my opinion.
Is not to the small or the medium enterprises. They have been able to adopt, they have been able to diversify their buyers also. See, if you look at any corporate, and ancillary to that corporates, tier 1 always enjoys a good credit. Their working capital management is good. Tier 2, to some extent, it is the tier 3, which is the micro enterprises. It will always have the challenge. You will ask him to diversify, it will not be able to do it. So that's what the GST Sahai will definitely play a bigger role there to ease out their working capital issues.
Mr. Mohanty.
Okay, so I agree with whatever my previous speakers have said. So one thing, if it is a B2B kind of a link, then probably vendor support financing is one of the ways we can look at it. And because see these the micro enterprises, they supply to either as medium enterprises or big enterprises, where the vendor support financing scheme can be looked at one of the options to optimize the income. If you asked about the academic viewpoint, probably everyone has said you have to expedite your receivables, so you have to defer payment to the trade payables. And if you can they accurately forecast the working capital needs, depending upon the working capital cycle, probably that is the only way this B2C micro enterprises can survive.
Awesome, great. Thanks for taking time out and thanks for staying back for a lovely panel and are interested in MSME sector. So thanks a lot for staying back. I know the count is less, but that shows the commitment of few people towards the MSME sector. Thanks a lot for coming, and we'll soon come back with another show, much better show at a greater level. Thanks a lot for coming back. Thank you.